Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Fresh Friday. I am here this week to talk about an underappreciated pumpkin in the food world, and that is the Cinderella pumpkin. This is a slightly smaller one. You can get some that are much bigger than this, but the ideal use for this is baking. I'm so excited. It has a really creamy texture and a very sweet flavor that make it perfect for pies, baking. You can even make it into an ice cream. So if you can't find a pie pumpkin, find yourself a Cinderella pumpkin out at pretty much any patch should have this. So I'm really excited because we are making pumpkin cake cookies with cream cheese icing. I have been talking about this recipe for weeks to my coworkers. I have tried to make it and I just didn't have the right pumpkin. This is the right one. I'm really excited to get into it. But I want to tell you a little bit about where I got this pumpkin. I went up to Country Pumpkins in Dry Ridge, and this wasn't too far off of the interstate if you're coming from Lexington. They had a huge selection of pumpkins. I got this one for $2.50 because they're so close to the end of the season that they are discounting them. And I got a pie pumpkin that was for $2.50. They're big, probably 15 to 20 pound pumpkins for $6 and under. You could find squash and gourds. You could find Indian corn. It's really like the best time to go if you're a procrastinator like me and have yet to a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin or still want to cook with some of these before the end of the season. So definitely get out there for the discounts right now. But on top of that, they had a ton of different things for you and your kids to do, including there were a playground, there was a petting zoo, a barrel train ride, a corn maze, and one of the coolest things I have ever seen at a pumpkin patch is called a chunkin' pumpkin. And basically, it's where you take a giant slingshot and you shoot out small pumpkins into a field. It looked so cool. I really wanted to do it. You could do that or like mini corn cobs out into the field, and it just looked like something that kids would love. I'm sure they keep that really busy. But there were also like some baby calves that had just been born, and they were adorable. You could just pet them and get some pictures, and you could walk out and take a hayride to the pumpkin patch itself and pick out one. So there was just a lot to do. You could really make a day of it. There was also a concession stand to make sure that you are well fed. So definitely get out there, especially if you don't have Halloween plans. Get out there this Saturday, 31st for Halloween. They're doing a free candy express ride for kids from 2 to 3, and the petting zoo actually opens at noon and it's free as well. So definitely get out there. Like I said, you can really make a day of it. There's so many fun things to do, and it's a perfect Halloween, especially this year when trick-or-treating is kind of up in the air for a lot of people and things like that. This is a way to get out in nature and to do some fun things with your kids. So I'm excited. Let's get into making our pumpkin cake cookies.
To get us started, you know the drill. We're going to be breaking into this pumpkin. This is actually a really easy one to break into. I just used my sharp knife and it almost cut like butter, but still be really careful because you are dealing with a knife, and just keep your fingers out of the way. Once you get that done, we are going to scoop out all of the seeds and the goopy bits. We're going to give this a nice coating of oil like usual, but no salt and pepper. And for your oil, you're going to use one that doesn't have too much of a taste. I used avocado oil, but you could use vegetable, canola, and just give it a nice coating before it goes into the oven. Once these are ready to go, you are going to pop them in a 400-degree oven for about 35 to 40 minutes, just so that you can get a fork through them. And once you take them out, you will take the skin off and put them in your food processor for a light pulse. I actually omitted this part from the video just to save everyone a little bit of boredom. I have shown this in the past couple videos of the Fresh Fridays here on the horticulture page, but if you haven't seen it, just take a look back at those videos and it will show you my process for this. To get the dough started, we're going to mix together the dry ingredients. To start, we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a half teaspoon of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. After giving that a nice stir and trying to keep it in the bowl, we are going to set that off to the side and get started on our wet ingredients. In a separate bowl, you are going to add 3/4 of a cup of unsalted, softened butter. That is a stick and a half, and I've had this sitting out while I've been prepping for this, so it is nice and soft now. We are going to use a mixer. You can use a stand or a handheld just to get this nice and fluffy and a lighter yellow. Then you're going to add the rest of your ingredients. So you're going to do 1 large egg first, and then you're going to do 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, a half cup of light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 cup of pumpkin puree. I pureed mine a little bit thin, so my cookies are going to spread a little bit more, but that's okay. The taste will be exactly the same. You're going to give this a good mix until combined, and then once fully combined, you are going to start adding in your dry ingredients. I like to add it in about 3 parts, but just do it until it is getting a cake consistency, and towards the end I like to just use my spatula to give it a good mix. Using a portion scoop, you are going to scoop out the cookies onto a baking sheet and put them in the oven at 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. While those are baking, you are going to make the very easy, very delicious icing that is going to go on top of these cookies. So what you're going to need is 1/4 of a cup of softened butter, 6 ounces of softened cream cheese, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 to 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. That's depending on how sweet you want it. I only did a cup of powdered sugar for mine. Give this a really good mix, scrape down the sides, mix again, and it is ready to go on your cookies. At the end, the final touch is to give it a little bit of cinnamon, or in this case pumpkin pie spice on top. It makes it look extra fancy and delicious, and it just looks and tastes like fall. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you give this recipe a try and visit Country Pumpkins. See you next week.